we'll move on to the My 15s selection now. If you said you have it there in front of you. So it's been a few weeks since I've actually done this. This would be episode number 20. I think the last one to do it was Barry John Keane, and that was 10. Oh no, sorry, it was Daniel Goulding. It was 3 weeks ago now. So it has been a while. So just to explain the rules, because this will be going out on Spotify as well. Not everyone will be able to see it. So just to explain the rules, I asked Stephen there a couple of weeks ago to prepare a team of 15 of the best players that he's played with. They can be players that you played with at club level, county level, international rules, Railway Cup, colleges, whatever. And you can have them in for whatever reason you want. The only other rule is that you have to be in the team yourself. But Barry John made an exception that time. He said he preferred to be coming off the bench for that team. So,
okay.
Some fellas who like to bend the rules. So if you want to start, Stephen, where you put yourself in the team, that's where we usually go from.
Okay, right. Well, I put myself in a 13 where I played most of my career. I'm not going to talk about myself, but that's the position I will play. Number 13, that's it.
Perfect. So we'll go back to the number 1 spot then.
Yeah, number 1, I suppose, having been fortunate to play for the teams that I played for, club, county, country and province, there's one outstanding candidate and probably the greatest goalkeeper of them all, Stephen Cluxton.
Okay, so you'll play with Stephen at international rules, I'm sure.
Played with Stephen at international rules, and I don't think there's much explanation needed here. He's probably set the trend for goalkeepers for the years to come, and to be still playing at the level that he is playing at, right up to the current season, is unbelievable achievement. I played against Stephen, in his breakthrough year in 2002, and he's still going now in 2020, and that's a remarkable achievement to be able to keep that fitness, the fitness levels as high as what he has, and to keep the standard of his play as high as what he has been nothing short of remarkable. And I was lucky enough in maybe 3 or 4 campaigns to play alongside him at the international rules.
Exactly, and like his ability as a goalkeeper, it doesn't go unnoticed. But at the same time, people are saying how the likes of whether it's Rory Beggan or Niall Morgan, how they're changing goalkeeping, but it's Cluxton who, revolutionised goalkeeping.
Yeah, well, Cluxton was the template for the likes of Niall Morgan and Beggan now, and those players are able to come up the field and maybe kick a point or two. But Cluxton, in terms of his kickouts and his variance with them, was the player who set the benchmark.
Yeah, he did one of these things, I suppose, as I said, in revolutionising goalkeeping. Like kids going out on the playground, there was always no one wanted to go on goals. But then you go up and see Stephen Cluxton kicking a winning point in All-Ireland final. All of a sudden, everyone wants to be a goalkeeper.
Yeah. Different. Like, you dream of kicking the winning score in the All-Ireland final, and for a goalkeeper to come up and do that definitely encourages kids to play in goals. Absolutely.
Exactly. The full back line then, Stephen, we'll move on to that.
Yeah, full back line is Enda McNulty, a player that I played against on the training field many times. I put a lot of, I suppose, my own career down to the tight marking and the hardships that Enda put me through in the training field as well. A fantastic man-to-man marker, very physical player, very fast player, and a player that, he was a specialist man marker. He always got the job of, I suppose, trying to nullify the threat of the danger man when we come up against the likes of Tyrone or Derry, and like he always done a great job in the likes of Peter Canavan, Paddy Bradley and Colin Cooper, players who got there. So, and McNulty was an automatic in there for me. Fullback, I've been lucky to play with many great fullbacks. The iconic Francie Ballier, of course, was a fantastic fullback. But for me, I played with Aidan O'Mahony with the international rules. I thought he was a very strong physical player. A player who obviously won multiple All-Irelands, but a great leader in defence, and somebody who played driving out with the ball the way you want a fullback to play. And the other cornerback, probably one of the most tenacious cornerbacks that I've come up against, once again played with him in the international rules. A specialist man-to-man marker, one of the greatest cornerbacks in the last 20 years was Sean Marty Lockhart from Derry, fantastic footballer. and a player that was held in high regard by anyone that played alongside him and anyone who played against him.
Perfect, and you have the mix there of the man marking cornerbacks and the full back. They'll just take the ball off them and go up the field with it.
Exactly, yeah. I always love to see, I suppose, somebody breaking out defence, breaking lines and supporting the play, and the man, he could do that to great effect.
That's perfect. We'll go on then to your half-back line.
Half-back line, I've gone for an all Armagh half-back line, believe it or not. Just simply because of the amount of time that I play with these players, and playing in the position where I played, I received many fantastic balls from these guys, and probably set up 80% of my scores for Armagh. Number 5, Aaron Kiernan, a Rolls Royce player. That's the best way I can describe Aaron Kiernan. Fantastic footballer, great brain, great energy to get up and down the field, but what a fantastic foot passer he was as well. So he's in at number 5. Number 6, the obvious choice, Geezer, Kieran McGeeney. One of the most inspirational captain that I've ever played under. A driving character in any dressing room, and his long diagonal left-footed passes into me, certainly set up a huge amount of my scores. As I said, a brilliant leader on the field, fantastic footballer, and when you want somebody to win that dirty ball towards the end of a game or make that diving block, Geezer was the man that stood up. And then at number 7, a player who, for me, you could actually put in any position in the whole of the defence, from cornerback to number 7, and that's Kieran McKeever. A brilliant footballer, naturally gifted footballer, a brilliant man-to-man marker, a brilliant, I suppose, enforcer, a brilliant player to drive up the field and kick a score. And the best way I can describe Kieran was, in his early years when he first broke onto the Armagh senior team, he was, I suppose, the man to try to nullify the threat of Benny Coulter, and Benny Coulter absolutely detested him as a footballer, detested him. And simply because Kieran was that good, he was able to man mark and stop a quality player like with the attributes of Benny. And it was only until Benny actually got to play with Kieran at international levels that he really, I suppose, seen the full benefits of what Kieran could do. And then two of the boys became really good friends. So it's amazing how it turns around, from detesting a player to becoming really good friends. And Kieran's actually managing Benny's club team now in Mayor Bridge as well. So he's getting the benefit of that there as well. But Kieran McKeever was a fantastic player, good captain as well. Captain Armagh under 21s to All Ireland success, and went on to captain Armagh seniors as well, and definitely a fantastic footballer. So an all Armagh half back line. I've been fortunate enough to play with many top players throughout the country. It's definitely a difficult task to pick your best players that you played alongside with, but I think it would be difficult to overlook those players. And I'm overlooking the likes of Aidan O'Rourke and Andy McCann, who are fantastic players as well for Armagh. Kieran Hughes as well. All brilliant players, but you just have to make tough calls in this thing.
As Gary Seiss said, he'd come on to another podcast and do a B team then.
Yeah, exactly.
Just there, as you said, it's actually very interesting, as you're saying with McKeever, how you don't know how good a player is until you play with them, because you're so used to against them. That's just something that I suppose you can say it for any player. You're going into a game and you're like, geez, I hate playing against this fella, hate this fella. But then when you're on the same teams and you look back and he's after keeping a man scoreless, or
he's exactly the type of player you want in your team, and that's it. And Kieran was able to mix it. He could be physical and he could be nasty at times, but as a defender, I think you have to have those type of traits in your game. But he could also attack. I think Kieran was probably underestimated in terms of how he could play football. He was a natural footballer. He could spread balls about. He could play make from the half back line as well, and that's a part of his game that was often overlooked. And he was just a fantastic player.
I usually ask at the end, I'd ask who the captain is of the team, but I think there's no question in this one that
Kieran McGeeney is the automatic choice for captain, absolutely.
And in terms of captains then as well, there's some captains will take the door off the hinges, others will say very little, do their talk on the field. What sort of captain was he in that sense?
He was a bit of both. So he was, he was a great communicator. Kieran was a very, very strong communicator. He's a very emotional communicator as well. And, some of his team talks before leaving the dressing room, it wasn't a case of banging doors or anything like that, but he really hit home in terms of what representing this county meant to him and what it should mean to his teammates as well. And, a lot of the time we took to the field in a great, strong frame of mind, simply on the back of Kieran's inspirational team talks. Very, very strong communicator. But, when he took to the field, he never, ever asked any player to do anything that he wasn't prepared to do himself. Never. And he absolutely, without a doubt, he was one of the best trainers that I've ever seen. He put his body on the line night after night, put himself through hours upon hours of pain to make sure that he was able to perform for Armagh. And he was just a fantastic leader, probably out of the half-back line, not as naturally gifted as Aaron Kiernan or Kieran McKeever in terms of footballing ability. Yeah. But Kieran worked so hard on his footballing ability that he became the best player in the country at one stage. So that's testament to his drive to succeed.
Yeah, true warrior for sure. We'll go on to the midfield then.
Yeah, midfield, I couldn't overlook Paul McGrain again. Another Armagh player that I played alongside. Probably next in line to Kieran McGeeney in terms of the driving force for that Armagh team. Another strong character, another inspirational leader who was an outstanding footballer. Mixed it with the likes of Darragh O'Shea year after year. Paul McGrain, probably around the 2000s, was the outstanding midfielder along with Darragh O'Shea in the country. And his long drag ball, Paul had a great saying, get it in the mixer. And that was just long drag ball. As soon as Paul McGrain had the ball in his hands, I knew exactly where it was going. And it was coming in on top of us. Whether it was good ball, bad ball, it didn't matter. We knew it was coming in, so get ready to fight for it. And Paul was an inspirational character. Another player like Kieran, his attitude to training was exemplary and a great lesson for any young player coming through as well. And the second choice, probably from the near neighbours to our own, Sean Kavanagh, a fantastic footballer. I think he maybe picked up 5 All-Star awards during his career, some of them in the forward line, but some of them midfield as well. But Sean was a brilliant player that I played alongside with Ireland and with Ulster. And, he's definitely been one of the most outstanding Gaelic footballers of the last 25 years as well. And what he's achieved on the pitch in terms of what he won with Tyrone, what he won on an individual basis, and he stepped up time after time for his own county and produced match-winning performances and match-winning scores, and I had to put him into the team as well.
It's incredible. Like, something I always noticed with Kavanagh, he does that bit of a shuffle where he's coming in off right. It's going to happen, but you just don't. It'll still always throw the defender. The defender knows it's going to happen, but it still manages to throw them.
Yeah, it's some players just have a knack of getting away with it time after time. But Sean had great footballing ability as well to be able to, if a defender did know and stand in his way of what he was going to do, he'd probably come up with something else as well. So, but he got away with it most of the time anyway. He just had that knack of a fast shuffle and, gaining a metre of space for himself and being able to kick the ball over the bar, and that's a great attribute to have.
Definitely, and as you were saying there with Paul McGrain, the way he just put the ball, as he said, put it in the mixer, put the ball straight into the full forward line. And that way, I know teams might be a bit reluctant now to put the ball straight in, regardless if it's a good ball or a bad ball. Do you think if is there place for teams to do that now? Just, I suppose, not lump it in, but lump it in at the same time, if you know what I'm saying.
Well, I suppose we had the benefit of having a full forward line that didn't mind how the ball was coming in, and were prepared to work and fight for every ball that came in. We had a presence in there. We had good ball winners, so it was a case of the faster the ball's in there, the better opportunity we have of winning games. And Paul McGrain was a no-nonsense type player, an absolute gentleman off the pitch. But, if you crossed him on the pitch, he would let you know about it. But, one that kept driving the ball in time after time. Sometimes what you're looking at nowadays in terms of football, you see a midfielder catch a ball, and you don't know whether he's going to deliver it or not. And maybe the inside forward has made that run, and he has to check himself and make the run again. And by the time he makes that run the third time, he is tightly marked, and then the ball comes in, and the defender comes out with it. We never had that problem with Paul McGrain. Once he had the ball in his hands, it was coming in. There was no nonsense about it, and we knew the show, and that was it.
Perfect. Your half forward line then?
My half forward line, once again, I spoke about him earlier on, Benny Coulter, class act, absolute fantastic footballer. Like Kieran McKeever, you could play Kieran anywhere in defence, you could play Benny anywhere from midfield up. He was that good, so he was a player who had an outstanding leap, a great eye for goal, and just had an athleticism that he could tramp the field and had the energy to keep going throughout 70 minutes. Brilliant footballer, brilliant character outside of the football field in the bars as well. You know, loves a pint or two, and one that I got to know and become really friendly with through my years of playing with him in the international rules. He was a player that I established a brilliant understanding on the football field with as well, and I would put a lot of my international success down to playing alongside a player like Benny, because he was smart, a very, very, very smart, intelligent footballer, knew when to make runs, knew when to make space, knew how to deliver a ball, knew how to take a score, and he was a forward string to play alongside, basically, so he was really top class player.
Brilliant.
Half forward, centre half forward. I'm overlooking John McEntee in this one. John was a brilliant player, but I've opted to go with another player I played with at international rules level, and he certainly deserves to be in any top team of the last 25 years. Patrick Joyce, Galway player, what a player he was. Sweet left foot, could deliver a ball, could put in massive scores in many games, and a great player to play alongside as well. He's one of those type of players that, you know, he was the go-to man for most of the teams that he played on. His performance in the All-Ireland final in 2001 is up there with the greatest All-Ireland final performances of all time, and thankfully I got the opportunity to play with him a number of seasons with the international rules, and became good friends with him. And another player who would put a ball on your chest without thinking too much about it, and with limited time and space on the ball as well, but also another player who could kick frees, who could kick the ball over the bar and could score goals as well. Just a tremendous forward.
Definitely. He's changing Galway football in obviously a positive sense. Can you say Galway winning All Ireland under Joyce?
Galway always have quality footballers, absolutely. The style suits them. You know, in the last couple of years, they've been playing a style of football that didn't suit the players that they've had. And I wasn't surprised to see Park go in and implement a more attacking brand of football to Galway, because that's what they're used to. That's their traditional way of playing football. Yeah. And you can see the energy levels and the enjoyment levels of the players playing for Galway nowadays. They're enjoying playing football again. They're enjoying pulling on that maroon jersey and representing their county again. And Pádraig has instilled that belief in them and the energy to go and play football, and allowing the players to play with freedom. And it's exactly how he played as a footballer himself. And when you play like that as a footballer and you're trying to send that message through to your team and you see the rewards of it, then why not? Can Galway win All Ireland in the next couple of years? Absolutely. They're one of the few teams that can certainly go and challenge Dublin, and they've got the footballers. Galway have always had the ability. They always had the footballers. They haven't always played to their strengths, but they seem to be playing their strengths now.
Definitely. I think the next time, hopefully it's this year, the next time I think Galway and Dublin meet could be an absolute cracker of a game.
Yeah, I think so too.
It'll be massive.
And the last half forward in my team is the one and only Oisin McConville. I certainly couldn't overlook this man. You know, time after time he saved Armagh from the hands of defeat to nail the match-winning score or whatever it may be. You know, one of the best free takers ever. For me, the greatest club footballer of all time. You know, he's done it all. He's produced massive individual performances. He's won it all for his club. He's won it all for his county. And you know, if you want a player to get his hands on the ball, you know, in the down moments of the game and generate a score, he was the man. He was a brilliant player, brilliant teammate, and another player that I formed a fantastic understanding with, and we knew how to link up well together. And he was definitely he had a real desire to get his hands on the ball, even when he wasn't having his best game. He always demanded the ball got to him, and you know, like Kieran McGeeney and players further in the field always received an ear bashing if he didn't get the ball up to Oisín fast enough. And you know, that's the type of character you need. Even when things weren't going his way, he still wanted to get his hands on the ball, and he always had, he had a serious self-belief in his own ability, and that's brilliant.
Definitely, looking back on games from obviously 2002 would be the main year. You'd get any Armagh games on YouTube or whatever, but we would have always seen, like, growing up, Oisín McConnell as being this unbelievable footballer. But he came into our school there. I think we were in Leaving Cert, so it would have been I'd say Leaving Cert, probably 3 or 4 years ago now. And he gave a talk, and usually someone would come in and give a talk, whether you're in transition year or something, and they could be there for half an hour, and 5 minutes into it, you're zoned out, and there could be only 4 people in the room. And Oisín McConnell came into the PE hall, and this is a school with about 650 students, and about 700 were there altogether between staff and students. And like, what he was telling, he told his own personal life story. He told his story. But regardless, there was probably half the school didn't have any interest in football. Everybody listened to him. The hair up on the back of your neck, listen to him. Like, he's just.
Well, he's got a brilliant story to tell, and he's been through the depths of depression, you know, his addiction to gambling, and he's out the right side of it now, and he's you know, helping others through their addictions as well now, which is fantastic. I suppose ending to what he's been through, but you know, to be able to put in the performances that he did time after time, week after week, while he was going through his own addiction and demons, you know, is something that I can only describe as fantastic and amazing, because it can only affect somebody in a seriously bad way to be going through those types of depression and gambling addictions and whatever else, and to be able to put those performances in. But he often said that, you know, getting onto the football field was a happy release for him, and that's how he seen things to be normal for him back then. That was his opportunity. That 1 hour of playing football was his opportunity to be normal. Yeah. But definitely, you know, Oisín has had many through their downfalls in the last number of years, and he's always a good source of. He's always willing to provide good source of information to anyone willing or going through heartache and hard times at the minute.
Yeah, he told us, like, just even some of the stories he told us about his addiction, and like, he had problems. Did he have bad problems with his back as well?
He had bad problems with his back, and that's probably throughout a lifetime of kicking fleas off the ground as well. He had issues with his back, and through probably the latter stages of his footballing career, you've seen that he went from kicking fleas off the ground to taking them out of his hands, and that was the reason for that. So he was able to adapt as a footballer as well, and to overcome serious back injury to still play at a very high level and produce the goods for his club well after his county career finished.
Definitely, like the 2 hours we listened to him, I'd highly recommend anyone to even listen to him for, if it was only half an hour, you got to listen to him. Just him telling his own story is just, it's inspiration, to say. And we'll move on from Oisín now. So you said you have yourself at number 13 there, and there's 2 spots left.
Yeah, 2 spots left. Well, listen, I've been, you know, I keep saying, how do you leave an inside forward line out of, you know, I'm going to name the likes of Paddy Bradley, Kieran Donaghy, Bernard and Alan Brogan, you know, players of that calibre. How do you leave those type of players out? But I've opted to leave them out. Michael Murphy is another player. What a player he has become. I played with Michael at the start of his career, and he was still a fantastic player there then, but probably in the last decade he's been the one outstanding player of the decade. But for me, it's very hard to overlook the 2 guys that played inside and formed that I suppose, line with Armagh for many years, Ronan Clark and Jim Marshall. The partnership, with Ronan was a wee bit longer than what I played with Jimmer, but the understanding that me and Clarky had playing alongside each other was, I suppose, testament to the hours upon hours that we put on the training field. I knew how Ronan would play and he knew how I would play. I knew where the ball was going to go. He could flick a ball left or right. I could flick a ball to him as well in the same manner and fall into the pathway and generate scores off it. He was a brilliant player in terms of winning high ball, low ball. It didn't make a difference what way the ball was coming in. Clarky could get his hands on it and cause torment to the defenders. I think he was unfortunate that his career was cut short in terms of injury, but what a class act he was while he was able to play. The other player in the corner, Jimmer Marshall. When I was probably around 17, 18, Jimmer was the main forward in the Armagh setup. He was the main scoring threat for Armagh, so he was a player that I really, really admired. His energy levels, his strength. We often done tackling grids with that Armagh team, and while it was a seriously physical Armagh team, Jimmer was probably the best tackler that we had in the whole team. The speed of his hands was absolutely sick looking at it. So it was, but Jimmer, he was the type of player and teammate that you wanted to have in your team. He changed his game when the likes of myself and Clarky come in to the fold to suit the team more so than to suit him, and he became more of a, I suppose, creator than a finisher, and more of a I suppose, side attraction, if you like. He was prepared to take more punishment than what he should have been taking to allow us to flourish as players playing alongside him. And just what a teammate. That's all I can say with Jimmer Marshall. What a teammate. Never ever shirk responsibility. Always up for the battle, always up for the fight, and produced massive scores for Armagh down through the years as well. But an absolute class act.
And as you said there, that ability, it's an ability that not every player has. That ability to not only play in different positions, but to adapt to different situations, as you said. From being the kicker, from being the one that does the hard yards to the donkey work and all that sort of stuff. And
yeah, exactly. He was a player that
do it as well.
He was a player, prepared to change his way of working pre-Armagh times with McDonnell and Clark to really work and make sure that the team was successful, and that's a sign of a top class footballer.
Brilliant. Yeah, can't say anything wrong with that team. Anyways, there's been some great teams now, in fairness, over the last couple of months, but that's one that I'd love to see go up against either. I'd love to see it go up against nearly all of them. You've got like Joe Sheridan, Matty Donnelly, Barry John Keane. They've all made some great teams, and as I said before, they come close to selling out Croke Park them games.
Well, listen, every player can pick 10 teams, there's no doubt. But I suppose what I've tried to implement in my team here is players who are out and out defenders who can stop and nullify the threat of serious danger men, but also players in defence that start attacks. I love players who have a focus on driving forward. I love players who can mix it, can be tough and physical, but also can be a flair player as well. And then I suppose with my forward line, gone for players who are out and out scorers. I always have a saying: if you play 10 to 15 in any team, your first and foremost responsibility is to get a score for that team. Your work rate, your tracking back, and whatever else comes after that. And that's maybe, overlooked a lot of the time in terms of a forward and how he plays nowadays. Excuse me. And that responsibility of scoring sometimes is something that is overlooked by forwards, but it should be the key number one priority for any forward in any team.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that, because the wing forward, the 10 and 12 can be there. It's a donkey's role, the 10 and 12 now in the game, and you can see that in every club team or county team. It doesn't matter. The number 10 and the 12 have to have a serious engine in them just to run up and down the field. But then it's doing them 5 or 6 runs, and then you're getting the ball to kick a score.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, everyone has a responsibility to work hard for the team, whether it's 10, 12 or 13 or 15, it doesn't matter. You all have a responsibility, but the main responsibility is you're a forward, score for the team. That's the only way you will win games. So get yourself into an area where you can affect the scoreboard, and whether you're back in half-back line dispossessing a player, and I've been back in half-back line many times for Armagh dispossessing players, but I always got up the field as fast as I possibly could, because my primary job for the team was to get scores for it. And I always wanted to get myself into a position where I could affect the scoreboard, and that's what forwards should be thinking of nowadays, particularly now. Like, there is a transformation in how the game is being played again. There is more a direct style in teams nowadays, and while we expect, and every manager and coach expects, the 10 and 12 to have high energy and high levels of work rate, they should never overlook the fact that they are there to score and to put scores on the board for the team, and to set up attacks as well. And I think that's something that will improve our game even more so if we can encourage all of our forwards to focus more on getting scores first and foremost.
100%. Steven McDonnell, we've got a good hour out of that. Thanks, William, for joining me in the podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. I've definitely enjoyed talking to you.